So now we're going to talk about how Google Calendar, Google Keep, and Tasks, all separate apps, can be found within other apps. So it's a really cool feature maybe you have not noticed before. So right now I'm in my student Gmail account, and you can see on the corner, on the far right side, there are the smaller icons for those different apps. So for example, if I clicked on this message and I have my teacher that says, hey, I'm a little behind and they can meet with me between 12 and 2 on Monday, and I need to tell my teacher the 30-minute block that I can do. So I could click on my calendar from here and I can look, I'm on Sunday, so I'm going to go over to Monday. I know I have some assignments due, and as a student, I'm not really using my calendar very much, but maybe this will get me going on using my calendar. So I'm like, oh, well, I kind of wake up around 12, and then I'm hungry when I first wake up. So I might tell my teacher that I can meet between 1:30 and 2:30. So I tried to do that click and drag down, but I didn't quite do it. So do you see it gets meeting on Monday? It's pulling that right from the title of the email. And I did not get the time exactly right. So I wanted to pick 1:30, and I only want it to go for 30 minutes. And I can add in my description, so I can say that I'm going to meet with Mrs. Donahue. If I wanted to add guests to the meeting, I could add Mrs. Donahue right to the meeting there. And then I can click Save. And this one, it tells me, like, do I want to send an invite to Mrs. Donahue? So I can either send her one or I don't need to send it. And so now it's here on my calendar, and Mrs. Donahue will get one, and she'll have the outline, but it won't be filled in until she accepts the meeting. So I have that done. It's going to tell her right away, so I don't really even need to respond to this email, but I could. So that's number one. And then you can click Close, and then it's going to close it out, so then you still have the little sidebar. So now in terms of Google Keep, I could click on that, and maybe I have a list of things, so I could do a few different things. So number one, I can add a new one, and do you see it's linking it to this particular email. And so I can just say meeting with Mrs. Donahue, and I could take notes. Maybe she had told me she didn't, but maybe it was things that I was behind on, and I could take notes on that, and I can click done. And so now I have this note here, and it will always link me back by clicking on that to the email. So that's another neat thing that you can do. And finally, I'm actually still in my email, so I don't need to go out, is there's these tasks. And this is just like, I'm going to say get started, because I haven't done any tasks as a student yet. But you can just click and you can add. It's like little to-do lists. So here I'm going to figure out what I am missing from Mrs. Donahue, because I need to get that done before the meeting. I can click on the edit button, and I can add a date and time. I can add some subtasks to it. Let me fix that because I didn't capitalize my M. And so the date and time, what's going to happen is, let's say I put it on for tomorrow, and let's say I'm going to set that for 12, because I'm going to meet with her later on, and I can make it a repeating event. So anything that I want to do regularly, I'm going to click OK. And so now there's a date on there and there's a time on there. So guess what's going to happen when I go to my calendar? All right, so the to-dos do not show up on the little calendar, now I know, but it did show up. Figure out what I need to do with Mrs. Donahue, for Mrs. Donahue. So I can click on that, and I can see that it's in my task, and I can mark it as complete when I'm done, if I finished that. And you can also mark them as complete in here. So as soon as you finish a task, let me just see, I'm going to say I got it. It shows the completed tasks down here. So, and it just puts a line through it. So sometimes it's nice, you can incorporate all of those tools right in with your other apps. And it's not just in that. So if you can look here, I'm in my Google slide, and I'm just going to go into the editor section. And you can see that I still have these three options available to me. And so if I was working with somebody and there was things that I needed to do, I could go right into my Google Keep, and I can add that information. I could add a new note of things that I need to do. So these are just some of the things that I have. So for my meeting with Mrs. Donahue, I still have that. I could pin something. If you pin a note, it puts it at the top. So you see how that's pinned? And so then when I come in, then that list is going to be at the tippity top for me. And so I don't have to worry about going down further and sort of searching for it within this little tiny tool section. Or I could put it in a task this way. So sometimes I actually have, a list of to-dos. And when I open something within another application, it automatically tries to link to it, which sometimes can be helpful, but I don't want to link to it here. And so for here, I can start taking my notes of things that I might still need to do.